Question bank again, e-GMAT was very helpful over there. I was creating I was creating those cementing quizzes for the topics that I was having difficulty with. I solved them. I solved the hard level over there. Try to gain more accuracy with that. So definitely, all the questions were again at the GMAT level or more than that. No doubt there. So it was very helpful that way. So I realized, let me start with DI because it has quant plus a little bit of passages. So I started with DI, then moved to verbal, solve all the verbal questions, take a break of 10 minutes, which GMAT offers on the day of exam as well, and then refresh myself, just not think about the mocks and etc. and get in that zone and then jump onto the quant. So this really helped me. I realized when I'm entering the quant, I need to be composed, and that the break helped me there. And selecting the DI and verbal at the beginning was a good choice as well.
Hello everyone and welcome to another debrief session with me. My name is Dhruv and I'm one of the strategy experts and mentors here at e-GMAT. Today I'm excited to have with me Akash, who recently scored a fantastic 695 on his recent GMAT attempt. Akash improved by 100 points, which is no mean feat. To speak about his subsectional improvements, he went from a DI 74 to a DI 83, which is a mammoth 9-point improvement. We'll certainly discuss about what did he do to achieve that kind of an improvement. His quant improved from a Q84 to a Q88, again a fantastic quant score, and his verbal improved from a V81 to a V83, again a 2-point improvement there as well. So Akash is here to share his entire journey with all of us here. He's here to share with us all the things that worked for him so that you, the new GMAT aspirants, benefit out of his journey and learn from his journey and his mistakes. Thank you so much, Akash, for doing this with us. Thank you so much for taking out the time. How are you and how does it feel to score a 695?
Definitely, I mean, kind of a dream score. When I started, I was at 595, and I was kind of devastated that how will I achieve such a great score. But that's where I guess e-GMAT came into the picture. I was able to utilize the resources and the platform and the mentorship support from e-GMAT, and all this thing combined together helped to get my dream score of 695.
Fantastic, fantastic. I'm glad that we were a part of your journey, and
Yep.
which is why we are able to do this interview with you today. And let's take this forward. Let's get deep into your journey to understand all the things that worked for you and the things that you learned from and improved on. Right? So, are you ready?
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Absolutely. So, let's begin. So, let's talk about the DI section, the area where you actually scored a good 9-point improvement. Right? Whenever I speak with a lot of students, they speak about two major challenges. Right? One is time management, because DI questions have a lot of data, a lot of information. So the challenge is to figure out what information to look at and what to ignore. That's point number one. Challenge number two is not enough good quality material on the web with regards to data insight that helps you solve difficult questions and also good quality questions and variety of questions. Let's discuss about both of them one by one. Let's start with the first challenge, right? When you saw the score of DI 74 on a diagnostic mock, what were your thoughts? How concerned were you, or what were you thinking? What did you think was going to be your plan of action?
Great. So when DI 74 hit me, first of all, I realized that there is a lot to cover in this. And two things that I realized was that I could not attempt the last probably 7-8 questions when I gave my first mock. So that gave me very good, like that was very challenging part for me, that I have to attend these 7-8 questions correctly. So I did attend 7-8 questions, but I just randomly marked them because I was not having the time. So that's when I realized that time management is the key in the DI part. How much time I give to MSR, multi-source reasoning, how much for data sufficiency, I have to manage accordingly. So that was the first thing I definitely realized. And I realized that my weaker section is in MSR because I was taking more time there. Sometimes I was writing wrong equations from the passage that is given. So these were the two weaknesses I found in my DI journey. So now I kind of knew that I have to focus on MSR. So I jumped onto e-GMAT portal. I deep dive into what all what are the basic concepts of MSR? How should we approach MSR? Should we read the questions first or should we read the passage first? All those things. I just followed the approach provided by e-GMAT portal, and I solved the question bank of MSR. And it was very useful. It is very rare to find a question bank of MSR because there are barely few questions available on other sources. So I was able to utilize questions from e-GMAT portal on MSR, and that helped me to strengthen the MSR part. And
correct.
Yeah, and talking about the time management, I realized that from the mentor support that DI seems to be a little forgiving section. You can take a risk in between. So what I did was that I used to hurry each question in the beginning so that I'm able to attend 20 questions. That was my strategy in the beginning, but I realized I'm making so many mistakes. Later on, I switched to a strategy wherein I will attend 16, 17 questions with proper accuracy and maybe leave last 3 for a luck. So this also helped me. This kind of helped me stabilize in the beginning, focus on the questions, getting the questions right. And that helped me manage my time effectively. I was not stressed during the exam. I was composed for all these 17 questions. And rest 3, I was just looking at marking them so that I don't get huge penalty for missing. So these 2 strategies I kind of followed during the DI part.
Right.
Yeah.
And I see that you used quite a lot of e-GMAT questions, while you were practicing. How close do you think were those to the official GMAT test that you took, right? And how did e-GMAT Scholaranium help you get exposed to a variety of DI questions so that you did not get caught off on the test?
Makes sense. Yeah, the questions were definitely very close to the GMAT level. In fact, I would say harder than GMAT level. I was able to select hard questions from the scholaranium part, and so I was able to only focus on hard questions, cement my learning concept understanding. So that definitely helped me to build that muscle memory of MSR. That was the one, and the Scholaranium section also offers the cementing and normal mocks and condensed mocks. So I was taking condensed mocks whenever I wanted to speed up, want to test myself on the time. So I was taking the condensed mocks and normal mocks when I want to keep the things as per the GMAT time clock. So I was switching between them. So it definitely offered me a dynamic strategies on how should I go when I don't have time, and how should I go when I have little time in my hand. I have time in my hand. So I was able to develop strategies accordingly. So, and the question bank was huge. Questions were so close to GMAT that whenever I was attending the question, I never felt like, oh, this question is so easy, it cannot come in GMAT altogether. But I was very confident that whatever questions I'm solving, I'm at GMAT level only, nothing less than that.
Correct.
Yeah.
And to just share my screen and show everybody what you're talking about. So this is your accuracy. Let me just reduce the page size. Yeah. So if you look at your medium level questions, right, you were doing really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your accuracy was right on top. And I think when one maintains a good accuracy on medium level questions, I think you build on confidence, and that is where your hard question accuracy also becomes better, and then you start solving difficult questions with more confidence, and that actually sets a foundation for you to score a score like a DI 83. So the medium accuracy is something that people usually ignore, right? But that is something that will actually take you to the hard difficulty level question, because without doing well on medium questions, you will never get hard questions. And without getting hard questions, you will not get to a score of 95th percentile plus like you did on the GMAT DI section. So kudos to you on this. I think you really worked on laying a solid foundation, and that is what was the key to your DI 83. So congratulations on 9-point improvement there.
Thank you, bro.
Right. Let us now discuss about your quant journey. Okay. You were starting at a Q84, which is honestly not a bad place to start.
Right.
If I give it to anybody, people will take it with both hands. Starting at a Q84, I will take it with both hands, right? But knowing that the level of GMAT questions on quant has gone up a notch higher, The
Right.
difficulty level has
Has gone
increased.
higher. Right.
To still manage to score a Q88 is fantastic, right?
Yes.
But let's understand what help you, develop your skills to the level of the official GMAT where the difficulty level is so high now, right? So again, I see that you were practicing on Scholarium continuously, right?
Right.
So I want to understand, when you were at a Q84, what were the challenges that you were facing, and what were the steps you took to address those challenges?
Got it. So I come from engineering background. I did my bachelor's from IIT. So quant was a little stronger for me in the beginning itself, but I realized my weaker. So time management was not a challenge for me. The challenge was in the core concepts altogether. I realized I was making mistakes in PNC and probability. I was making mistakes in word inferring from the word problems. Like I'm writing down the wrong equation altogether. So some silly mistakes over there. So wherever I realized that it's a conceptual gap, I visited e-GMAT portal, went through the core those modules of PNC and probability, and even I was struggling sometimes with even odd questions. So I went through module of that even odd section and realized that I have to strengthen all these concepts, and then I can improve my score in even odd questions. That's what I did, and definitely it helped me. Otherwise, 4 point improvement wouldn't have happened.
Correct.
And yes, and silly mistakes were happening continuously. So I started tracking my silly mistakes on what kind of pattern I'm making in silly mistakes. I started maintaining the error log that was shared by e-GMAT. I found that I'm making mistakes in noting down the given information. So I started putting more time on reading the question and inferring, making sure that I'm reading it right and comprehending it right. So these two things I kind of did. And question bank again, e-GMAT was very helpful over there. I was creating I was creating those cementing quizzes for the topics that I was having difficulty with. I solved them. I solved the hard level over there. Tried to gain more accuracy with that. So definitely, all the questions were again at the GMAT level or more than that. No doubt there. So it was very helpful that way. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you agree when I say that this is the feedback that I get regularly, that the difficulty level of quant on the official GMAT has gone up a notch higher? Is that true? Did you also feel that?
If I tell you before my official exam, I took 3-4 mocks. I scored Q90 in all the mocks. Okay.
Correct.
But on the day of exam, maybe the questions were lengthy or tough, but it did challenge me that, quant is not a easy game to crack. It has level up since last. So definitely it will test you on the day of exam. I used to think that quant is my strong area, but GMAT made me rethink that.
Right. This happens especially with engineers because engineers usually come with the notion that, quant, right? I will
Yeah.
just kill it. But GMAT
Yes.
is a great humbler, I believe.
Yes,
Right?
it is. Definitely. It is.
Correct. Let us take a look at your quant stats.
Sure.
You were doing really well there, and e-GMAT quant is not a cakewalk. Okay. It will test you, it will test your ability, right? So if you look at your last 10 hard attempts, you were consistently at a 60% accuracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You also improved
Yeah.
your accuracy in some topics like advanced topics, right?
Yes.
Let us just take a look at the progression to understand more about this. Just a second. Yeah. Let's take a look at the progression. Hard questions. So take a look. You were pretty down here, but you slowly kept on improving and you kept on
Yes.
improving, right? And that is how you scored what you did. So
Yes.
kudos to you on that. Right? It is important to be humble, to accept that it's okay.
It is.
There are things I don't know and I need to fix them, and that's what I did. So
Yes.
well deserved Q88. Right?
Definitely. Yes.
Let's move on to verbal. A 2-point improvement there.
Right.
What do you think were your initial issues with verbal?
Verbal was very interesting one. The issues I was facing were more on the CR part. CR may, to be specific, I was having challenges in strengthening assumption, weaken, like most of the sections you can say. And I realized I was relying more on the options to tell me that this is the right answer. But that cannot be the strategy, because GMAT can play with the options very easily, and you can go in a different direction with your score. So I realized I need a strategy, some good strategy, fundamental process that I can always rely on and get my assumption questions right. And that's where e-GMAT pre-thinking process came into the picture. When I read a question, I pre-think on it. What would be the assumption? What would be the strengthening? What could be the weakening areas for this argument? And then I move on to the options. When I move on to options, I have that confidence that I have understood the argument, what author is saying, and I can nail it. Like at least I can try to pinpoint where is the strengthening part and weakening part. So I got that confidence eventually by practicing. And of course, muscle memory is very important. You have to practice a lot to get it into, so that whenever you read a question, you naturally flow into the process. So definitely that part helped me over there. And talking about RC part, RC, again, I was struggling with the inference questions over there. What is the implied inference from this passage, etc., etc. So again, the quality of RC passages in e-GMAT portal were very good. They challenged me all the time. The topics that were presented were very diverse. It was not only science, it was also philosophy, humanities, feminism, and many different topics. So it challenged me on the passages as well. I was getting exposed to new topics, so that the day of exam, I'm not worried if I get a new topic. I was quite familiar with the things. So these two things definitely helped me. Quality of questions were very good. Analysis that e-GMAT provides after you take an exam or a mock is very good. You have so much data in front of you that you by default know that what are your weaknesses and what you need to work on. So the ease of use of e-GMAT portal, the data it provides, an actionable plan it gives after that is just cherry on the cake.
Fantastic. I was just looking at your RC improvement, and
Mhm.
you did improve quite a bit there, right? So you were starting at around 50-ish accuracy on hard passages, which you see after a point improved tremendously to 65%.
Right.
And I'm sure this is where your pre-thinking, your inference skills would have
Right.
kicked in. I think you would have developed those skills here at this point.
Yes.
That is where you
Definitely.
were then able to consistently score. It also
Yes.
70 point at a particular stage, if you see,
Mhm.
70%, which is great. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Now let's talk about your mock journey. Right.
Right. Mhm.
You took some mocks. There was one which was closer to your target score, a 665, if I believe.
Yes.
Others
Yes.
were kind of slightly lower than that.
Yes.
I want you to help everybody understand what goes on in the mock journey, because it is very difficult to accept a low score after you spend so many months preparing, believing that you're on the right track. Right?
It is. It is.
So what happens when you score low on a particular? How did you bring yourself up, put yourself together, and okay, fine, let's go for another one. Let's not give up. How did you keep up the mental game?
Interesting. So, I mean, it is very natural for anyone who is starting the journey to score low in the beginning. I kind of, had that low score in my journey as well. So, during those time, I was disappointed. But if after the mock, I'm getting all the analysis in front of me. So I was always curious about what went wrong and what is wrong on my strategy, which section was very poor for me. So I was always engaged in that scenarios. Of course, there were times where I was demotivated. I kind of took help from my friends that, hey, hold me accountable if I'm not studying. In fact, funny story. In fact, there was a reward for my friends if I don't study regularly. So I use my friend as a social accountability thing. So that kind of helped me. The environment around me, I ensured that everything is supporting the GMAT journey. I adjusted my work timings, everything according to that, so that nothing comes in between my GMAT journey. So that was the one. I was also like experimenting with what is a section sequence I should take. I used to earlier start with quant, DI, and then verbal, with the thought that quant is my easier section, so I'll nail it first, and DI is also a very stronger one, so I can do that. But I realized quant, since my quant is stronger section, I should keep it later. DI is a challenging one because it requires more thinking and it involves little quant. So I thought that let me start DI, jump on to verbal, because if I started with verbal for once, I realized that I'm not able to read passage quickly, get into that momentum very quickly. So I realized let me start with DI because it has quant plus a little bit of passages. So I started with DI, then moved to verbal, solve all the verbal questions, take a break of 10 minutes, which GMAT offers on the day of exam as well, and then refresh myself, just not think about the mocks and etc. and get into that zone and then jump onto the quant. So this really helped me. I realized when I'm entering the quant, I need to be composed, and that the break helped me there. And selecting the DI and verbal at the beginning was a good choice as well.
Usually, Akash, people prefer to start with the strongest section, like you mentioned. You would also do that
Right.
earlier, right? And that usually works.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is the first time I have also come across somebody who started with DI and succeeded, because you scored a DI 83.
Yes.
It's not easy.
Right.
What I'm trying to get at here is there is no science that starting with your strongest section will always work.
Right.
Mock stage is your time to experiment with the section order to understand which strategy works the best for you.
Totally agree with you.
There is
totally
no
agree.
right or wrong.
Totally
the
agree.
strategy that works for you is giving you results on the mock is the right strategy. As simple as that.
It is very true.
Right? Because when you score a DI 83,
Mm-hmm.
the test is adaptive. The difficulty level of verbal would have gone slightly up.
Mm-hmm.
You scored an 83 there. Not bad. 83 is not bad.
Yes.
Right? So the difficulty level of quant would have also maybe been a little on the medium hard level and not medium level.
Right.
So
it was.
the quant would have anyway become more difficult than it would have been had you started with quant.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then to score a Q88 there speaks about your abilities and your confidence in your quant abilities.
Right.
Even if the questions are difficult, I'll get it. Right?
Yes.
So I think self-belief is also another very important factor here.
It is definitely. Totally agree with you that experimenting with the sequence is the crucial one. What works for me may not work for others, but experimentation is definitely a key to identifying your right sequence.
Correct. And right sequence has an impact on the overall score. Right? Nobody can deny that fact. It has an impact.
It does.
Fantastic. Now, finally, on the day of test, what happened? What were you feeling? Were there any hiccups during your test, or everything was smooth? How was it? How was the testing?
On the test day, as everyone would know that you need to carry passport, and that's the only thing you need to carry or to the exam. I carried that. The onboarding process was very smooth. No hiccups there. Even starting the exam and everything was really smooth. Only thing that was variable was basically my mindset. That could change based on any factor, the other factors, right, on the day of exam. So I believe all the GMAT centers, they are very good at onboarding the students and starting the exam. Only thing that students need to take care is the mindset and the emotional state that you are in, so that when there is a question in front of you, you're not panicked. You are composed and calm in answering the questions. And again, whatever sequence I was following on my previous mocks, I followed the same. No change over there. No surprises at the last moment. But interestingly, when I saw that quant is challenging me in the mock, I realized, okay, I need to get questions right and I need to calm myself, even though the quant is little challenging. So I did not let that affect me. And maybe I could have gone one question wrong. That's why I scored 88 in quant. But given the difficulty level of quant, I could have panicked, but I did not let it take over me. So I maintained my composition and tackled the exam. And honestly, when I hit submit button and I see my score on 695, I am jumping. I literally kind of in the small sound, I yelled that I'm happy with the score. So I was very excited after the exam. Yeah.
Fantastic. So with this, we come to the end of our interview with you, Akash.
Yeah.
We discussed every possible thing, right? And I'm sure a lot of GMAT aspirants who are watching this video till the end would have made a note of a lot of learnings that they could have taken from our journey, right? And on behalf of e-GMAT, I wish you the very best for the next steps. So keep us posted, and we
Sure.
wish you the best.
Thank you so much, Dhruv. It was nice interacting with you. And thank you so much for all the support e-GMAT has offered. Couldn't have happened without you.
Thank you so much. We are glad to have been a part of your journey.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.